That black patch on your wall is alive. It is a colony, and tonight it will release spores into the air of a room where someone sleeps. I am a public health specialist, and I write policy on damp housing. Most of what you have read online about mold is wrong in two opposite directions. Mold is not dirt, and it is not a cleaning failure. It is a living fungus, and the only thing it truly needs from you is water. The World Health Organization estimates that damp affects somewhere between 1 in 10 and 1 in 2 indoor spaces across Europe, North America, Australia, India, and Japan. It is not evenly spread. Damp clusters in rented homes, in aging buildings, and in rooms nobody can afford to heat, which means it gathers around people with less money. Every colony sheds spores, and most measure between 2 and 10 microns across. That is small enough to stay airborne, and small enough to be breathed deep. Your nose is a filter, lined with sticky mucus and fine-moving hairs that catch most of what you inhale and sweep it back out again, harmlessly. The smallest spores slip past that defense, ride the air down the branching pipes of your lungs, and settle where the tubes become too narrow to cough clear. Your immune system meets them there, and cells swarm the spore while the tissue around it swells and tightens. That swelling is inflammation, and it is the whole story. For a healthy adult, that is usually the end of it. Your lungs clear the spore, the swelling settles, and you never know that anything happened at all. But the World Health Organization reviewed the evidence and found it sufficient to link damp and moldy housing with the development of asthma in people who never had it. For people who already have asthma, the finding is even stronger. Living with damp makes attacks arrive more often, hit harder, and become difficult to respiratory infections. Not exotic illnesses, just ordinary chest infections, arriving more often and lasting longer than they should. One controlled study went further. Researchers stripped the damp out of people's homes and then watched asthma attacks fall sharply, which is the closest we get to proof of cause. So risk is not spread evenly either. Babies, older people, anyone with asthma or a weakened immune system carries far more of it than a healthy adult does. Children in cold, damp homes are around twice as likely to have breathing problems as children in warm ones, and asthma that starts in childhood often never leaves. A boy of 2 named Awab Ishaq died at home in England. A coroner ruled that prolonged exposure to mould inside that flat was what had caused it. His family had reported the problem for years and had been told each time to open a window. That ruling moved damp from a housekeeping complaint into a legal hazard. Now the other story, the one with a shopping list. It began in Texas with a burst pipe, a mansion, and an insurance company that dragged its feet. In 2001, a Texas jury awarded those homeowners $32 million. Most of that was later thrown out on appeal, but by then the panic had already started. An industry grew from it, testing kits, remediation firms, and a diagnosis called mold toxicity, treated with supplements, binders, and detox protocols you can buy this afternoon. The same review that confirmed the asthma risk called the mycotoxin evidence extremely weak. No study has shown people in damp homes absorbing doses that could poison them. Both halves of that matter. The panic sells supplements to people who need a dehumidifier, and the eye-rolling leaves asthmatic children breathing spores nobody has to remove. So treat it as water, not poison. Find the leak, warm the room, open the windows after showers and cooking, and wipe the growth off with detergent. That patch is not poisoning you. It is telling you the wall behind it is wet, and that makes it a repair job, not a diagnosis to be treated.